Good morning to you all. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am the evaluator of the digital project you participated in, and I want to thank you all for helping us and for participating in this evaluation. As you see in the first slide, we want to explain you a bit what we're doing. We're doing a final evaluation whereby we want to justify the project that we have done. We want to identify lessons learned and best practices, and we want to identify as well the impacts of the activities that we have done. All that with the aim of producing new and better projects. So we have some general needs on this evaluation, which is accurate information from partners and target groups, and specific needs from you. We need you to send a survey to target beneficiaries to get information from them. We need you to arrange an interview with us or, depending on the cases, fill in a brief questionnaire and collect the best stories of the trainees that participated in your training sessions through a technique called most significant change. And that's why we have produced this video to explain you what is the most significant change and how do we want you to fill in a template that we have sent you. So the next slide is asking us what is most significant change. Most significant change is just a collection of the most significant stories of the activities we have done. It is a participatory monitoring and evaluation tool. It's known worldwide, so it's very useful to be acquainted on how to use this tool. It's qualitative in nature. That means that normally we will use no numbers, just normally the points of view and the opinions of the people. And it can be implemented throughout the program cycle and help to inform implementation. It contributes as well to evaluation because it helps us to identify impacts, and that is related with the first slide of what we want to do with this evaluation. So why is the most significant change useful? It requires no special knowledge, no special professional skill to use it. That means that you need to know no jargons like indicators, outcomes, impacts, or baselines, or whatever. You just need to know the activities you have done and the potential impact they have had, and to know the people, the beneficiaries you have worked with. It helps build staff. It helps to build the capacity of staff in analyzing the data, and it's a very powerful tool to monitor and evaluate projects. So what can we do with it? With the most significant change, what we can do is we can use it for assessing impacts. That's what we're going to do with you. It can be incorporated in your monitoring reports. That is very important, because next time you apply or next time you participate in a project, I will highlight that you have already worked with the most significant change technique. It will give you points in order to get funding. As well, it can be included in the results section of your reports. How do you do the most significant change? First, you decide a template of questions. In this case, we have done the template ourselves. You decide the periodicity. When are you going to collect the stories? In this case, it's only once. The responsibles, which could be the target beneficiaries, or in this case, it will be you, and the timeline to do it. And secondly, you establish different layers of selection of best stories. And what is going to be the specific use of the most significant change in the evaluation? Just to make the whole process simpler, we're going to use a soft version of the most significant change. We want you to select the 3 most relevant trainees you have had, give them a phone call, and then fill in the template that we're going to provide you with. It is therefore, as I said, a very soft approach. If you want more information about most significant change technique, you can just click in this link or introduce it in the address bar, or just Google most significant change, and then you will get all the information, because it's normally a tool mostly used for monitoring rather than evaluation, so it's a bit more complex that we're gonna do in this evaluation. And how are we gonna train you? What we're going to do is to fill in a mock template together, so that you are able to fill it yourselves. So we have sent you already a link that you have it here as well in the presentation. Then click please the link, and we're gonna do it together. So let's go. Let's click. So when you click, this is the screen you get in your computers, the screen that you will get in your computers, with the questionnaire that you will need to ask to the trainee. First of all, you have a brief introduction you need to give them about the evaluation, what we have just done with you, explain a bit of the evaluation, which are our objectives and aims, that the information will be of course confidential, and that the question is quite small, quite easygoing, with only 6 questions. You will find a first section, as you see here in the screen, background information. It's a kind of profiling of the trainee. If you already have the information beforehand, I suggest that you fill it in beforehand, and if not, you just ask them. But many of the questions you will know. For example, in this case, our trainee is coming from Spain, from a rural area. She's a female, age range, she's 50, so it's in between 46 and 55. She's a human rights defender, type of advocacy they do is human rights defender. She could have been civic activist or journalist. If she or he is not neither of these options, you just skip it. Type of human rights they advocate, here you just need to include the type of human rights. They advocate children's rights, women's rights, gay, bisexual, transsexual, minority rights, whatever, you just include it here. Okay. So in this case, she's advocating for some minority rights, and in some parts of the country. Please describe, the next question will be of the profiling, how do they advocate for the above mentioned right? This is important information for us. So let's imagine that in this case she's writing articles in a blog and producing reports for an NGO that later goes to the Committee of Human Rights of the United Nations. And once we have done the profiling, we have the questionnaire, strictly speaking, which is only 6 questions. First question is, how did they become involved with the training workshop, and what were the activities they benefit from? This is just to frame the way in which they participated and why they were contacted, the way they feel it, at least. So here, for example, we will say that she was contacted through a network of human rights defenders, that they selected her because of the number and quality of articles she wrote. And second question would be, since you were provided the training, what do you think have been the most significant changes for them brought about by the involvement in the training workshop? In this case, we are looking at different changes, and we're just looking at a very brief statement on the changes. It could be, for example, big things, negative things, positive things. So just ask them to include whatever pops into the mind. Changes come around because of the training. So in this case, it could be like change of habits, using the computer, being able to access block, otherwise block information. Let's say some negative ones as well. She's more paranoid about being watched. And last one, some networking. So because the next question, what we want to find is the most significant change for this person because of the training she was attending. And therefore, in this case, we don't want a thorough explanation. So let's say that the most significant change for this person was the networking. Then here we will need to go through that most significant change. So for example, in this case, let's say that she networked with some colleagues. Thanks to the training, they started a collaboration and they just created a new blog advocating for a range on human rights. This blog, let's say, has put a lot of pressure into their state to alleviate the situation for some of their citizens, kind of saying, I mean, and just this is just a mock exercise, but this is more or less the kind of information we're looking for. So please go through, ask them, and provide us a thorough explanation, as thorough as you can. Next question will be, please include an adequate headline that defines the most significant change explained above. This is more for you rather than for them. So in this case, it will be you. I mean, you can already say goodbye and thank them for participating in the question. It has been very, I think it's very short and it's very easy going. So now for you, you just need to include a headline. Here we will say like networking advocating platform. That will be the headline. And then here another section that you have is optional for organizations, persons different from the storyteller recording the story, comments or interpretation on the story she has told us. So in this case, for example, you may know her in advance and you may say that she was working very actively, but one of her needs was as well to get out of her isolation, and that's why these trainings were so useful for her. For example, that could be more information that you have about the story that she has not given, because I mean, she might not be aware, but you have a more complete picture of it all, and this is the place where you can include it. And as well, for example, recommendations related to this more significant change story that you may include. So this is as well a question for you and not for the interviewee. So here, for example, some recommendations that you may include is to foster networking always in trainings have proved to be one of the main impacts of trainings. Remember that this is just a mock exercise, and therefore this is all just created, it's just imaginated. And then you will just need to click send, and we will get the response. Okay, so just to finish, we have included a section on normally asked questions, frequent asked questions. So, for example, you may need to know, or you may be asking yourselves how many templates you need to fill in. Is at least, we have thought that at least 3. When is the last day deadline for sending the stories? It's Wednesday the 30th of April at 12 p.m. How thorough have to be the answers? We just need you to include all the relevant information you know and they know. May you include negative stories? Of course, as you have seen in the mock exercise, one of the things we are as well asking is big, small changes, positive, negative ones. So whatever changes are interesting for us. Can I just ask the trainee to fill it himself? Yes, in fact, that would be the point in using the normal most significant change. But in this case, you need to make sure you brief them on how to fill it in so that you can pass on the information of this video. What would we do with or what would you do with the stories? We will run a selection process where we will select the best ones, and the more outstanding and representative ones will inform the evaluation report. They may come in the evaluation report because all of them will inform the evaluation report. And our idea is to provide you some feedback on which stories have been selected and why as well. Another normal question is that you may think that you have not found any significant stories. What shall you do? For us, that it's already a very interesting finding. So just send us an email explaining how many people you contacted in order to be included in the limitations of the evaluation. So don't worry about that. It might be the case. It's not your fault. This was a very short training, so it might be that there are no changes. And any other questions, you already have my email, so feel free to contact me. And okay, before finishing, I would like to thank you again. Thank you for your participation. The information that you're going to provide us is going to be very useful, and it's been a pleasure just producing this video for you. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.